Hello, students. We're already done with our lesson one for chapter one of your film and society subject. So this is now lesson two for the chapter one, which is the elements of a film. So what are the elements of a film? First is the character. It is the person or other being in a narrative, such as a novel, play, film, movie, or video game. The character may be entirely fictional or based on a real life person, in which case the distinction of a fictional versus real character may be made. Hello. So there are two types of a character. First is the protagonist. Works toward the central story goal. So ito yung bida. We also have the antagonist. It works against the goals. Ito yung mga kontrabida. And we have different kinds of characters as well. Confident the character, dynamic or developing character, flat or static character, foil, round, and villain character. So confidente character, it is someone or something the main character confides in. Dynamic or developing character is someone who changes throughout the story due to some events. For example, nung una itong character na to, it is friend or pro to protagonist, but in the middle of the story or in the middle of the film, there are problems that all of the characters have faced. So nagbago yung character na yon. Bumaliktad siya. It became an antagonist in the middle of the story. So nagbabago is developing character. Next is the flat or static character. So unlike the dynamic character that it changes throughout the story, a flat character is its opposite. Because a flat character doesn't change much or at all throughout the story. Best friend ka nung umpisa, best friend ka hanggang matapos yung story. So it's the best example of the flat or static character. Next is we have the foil character. It is someone who is the opposite of another character. For example, your main character can be sweet, can be caring, and the foil character will bring out the side by being nasty. Character whose purpose is to accentuate or draw attention to the qualities of another character. Next is the round character. It is somehow similar to dynamic character. They change throughout the story, gaining new traits. Some traits opposite to who they used to be. And of course, the villain character, ito yung mga kinakainisan natin because it is similar to antagonist but they are evil. Next element of the film is the plot. So this is the series of these events from the beginning through the middle until the end. It's just the flow of the story. It gives us the feeling of the forward motion of the story. The most important events of the plot are often significant irreversible incidents that change the course of the plot and push it further ahead. So it's just a story, the flow of the story, and more specifically, how the story develops, unfolds, and moves in time. So there are stages of the plot. First is the exposition. Okay, let's see the flow. The background or the exposition. This is the beginning of the story, which your characters, your setting, the main conflict are typically introduced in this part or in the beginning of the story. And then It will go up to the rising action, which includes events leading up to the main problem or conflict. So the main character is increases and events leading up to facing the conflict begin to unfold. The story becomes somehow complicated in this part already. And then until it reaches the climax, this is when the problem reaches a high point. This is the peak of the story, the top of the story. A major event occurs in which the main character faces a major enemy, major fear, challenge, or other sources of conflict. So the most action drama, change, and excitement occurs here in this part. That is why it is described as the highest point or the top point of the story or of the film of the film. Next is the falling action. This is when the characters work to solve the problems or conflict. The story begins to slow down from the climax and work towards its end, trying up losing ends. And lastly, we have the resolution, or it is also known as the denouement. The resolution is like concluding paragraph that resolves any remaining issues and ends the story. So this is how things end up in the story. Next element is the scene. It is the building block of screenplay. It's most basic unit that has its own independent whole existence. Fourth is the dialogue. One of the that we used from creating characters that we worship forever to conveying the biggest plot truths, from bringing out the internal and external conflicts to establishing the significance of a powerful resolution, from constructing the internal drama of the scenes to being wonderful transitional devices. It is one of the most important part of a film because it changes the way we watch and perceive the movie. Sometimes, mas naiintindihan or mas naaalala natin yung isang film because of the famous dialogue of one character in that particular film. So, minsan, mas naaalala pa natin yung dialogue na yon kaysa yung title ng film. Next, we have the cinematography. It is the writing movement of the movie based on photography. How something is being filmed is just as important as what is being filmed. The way in which a shot is framed, lit, toned, and colored is a story of its own, just as it is photography. This includes camera angles, camera shots, camera movements, shot sizes, lighting, composition, everything that goes to photography. Six is the mise en scene, where everything that appears in a frame. The sets, locations, or even actors, the props, costumes, light, and shadow are all part of this element. It can be realistic or abstract, purely background or an interpretative active element. It contributed to by a variety of talents on the film crew. Diyan ang production designers, the makeup artists, set builders, cinematographers, actors. Everything on screen in a film has been deliberately included at an artist's direction and for a purpose. So it is the stage design and arrangement of actors in scenes for a film production. It can be both in visual arts through storyboarding, visual theme, and cinematography, and in narrative storytelling through direction. Next element is the editing. This is known to be the key to cinema as it is the only formal element that is unique to the medium. So, definitely, the movie cannot be watched by its audiences without this important element. So the editor uses time and continuity as tools in presenting the narrative. It is the editor's job to piece the whole movie together from all of the scenes in different cameras. The editor connects one scene to the next and sometimes several shots in the same scene with a few different editing techniques. The sound, it is the most subtly influential aspect of the film. Next, we go to the importance of film in the contemporary society, as I mentioned during our introduction or our first meeting. It is not all about the film. This subject, in this subject, we will study the relationship of a film and society. What is the importance of a film in a society? How can the movie influence its viewers to contribute to the development of the society? First importance of film in the contemporary society, movies inspire us. A good movie will entertain, educate, and inspire the viewer in many ways. Think of that impact that songs have on people. For example, they make us think, they make us compassionate. This inspire us in a way that we will think how to help others and to do good and for to do good for humanity. Movies can create awareness on multiple aspects of life. It rewarns us of what happening in the society or what will happen in the society. So people need to be reminded about the importance of formal education as well as co-curricular school activities such as art and sports. School-related films underline this importance and give education stakeholders ideas on how to improve education system in different parts of the world. Besides that, film brings us to understand the negative effects of drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse. There are also crime and action TV shows or films that also warn us about the dangers of criminal activities, terrorism, and war. Okay, movies mirror culture. Every movie is set and developed in a particular culture. They are an integral part of us. They mirror what we believe in and how we coexist as people. So thanks to audiovisual translation, people from all over the world are able to watch movies and understand the cultures of faraway communities. We can introduce and promote our cultures and traditions to other nationalities through movies, or films. That has in turn helped us to become more united even when our cultures are so different and diverse. Movies shape culture. Besides mirroring our diverse culture, the films has for a long time been shaping our beliefs and values. A good example is when people copy fashion trends from movie stars, from actors that they watch in the movie or film, and also musicians. It is also common these days to find societies using figures of speech that are inspired by the film industry. At the very least, film solidifies selected cultural beliefs and renders some strange subculture. Movies teaches us history. Most history movies are fact-based or real life, which happens a long time ago. Even for the few that are fictional, they still depict a realistic and fantastic picture of how the world was before the invention of the audio devices or before the advancement of technology that we know today or that we have today. They connect the modern world with past generations. Next, or lastly, is this desensitization of sympathetic feelings. Many social psychologists today hold the opinion that movie erode sympathetic feelings in people by making violence and the suffering of other people seem acceptable. This tendency of not helping the victim or okaying violence has grown as a result of the media desensitizing sympathetic feelings. So you already know what are the elements of a film as well as the importance of film in the contemporary society. Thank you, everyone.